Hello again, welcome back to Blackpool for more top quality action from the Foster's World 8-Ball Pool Tournament. We're at the quarter-final stage of the men's events. 3 terrific matches are gone. Our last quarter-final coming up. With me, Keith Brewer, a former finalist. Keith, when we look forward to this match, I guess we're all looking forward really to seeing the 3-time former world champion, aren't we, Gareth Potts?
Well, yes, he kind of owns this tournament, really. You know, he's got a fantastic record. He's 3 times champion. He's always at the TV stage, just every year. He'll be hungry for it this year, though, because he lost to Adam in the quarter-finals last year, and I think that hurt him a little bit.
Yeah, and he's up against Lee Clough. Tell us a little bit about what sort of match you think this will be.
Contrasting styles, that's for sure. Lee's a bit more slow and methodical, if we're going to be honest. But when he's out there in amongst the balls, he doesn't do a lot wrong. He's got the right game to upset the top players. You know, he's got good records against most of the top players. It's a little bit different on this table, though. You know, the bigger table, it alters the game slightly. You
mentioned the word upset there. Of course, in the last quarter-final, terrific upset with Jason going out. You can't foresee anything quite so sensational as that happening this time?
It's slightly different this, because if Lee was to win this match, it wouldn't be as big of an upset as what we saw with that match. But certainly Gareth will start this match firm favourite.
Right, let's take a check then on what's happened so far. We've referred to it, and there we go. Phil Harrison, the defending champion, just putting out Adam Davis. Mick Hill, good performance from him in the end against Gareth Hibbert. And then that truly dramatic match between Jason Twist and Craig Waddingham. And Waddingham going through the unseeded, unranked, almost unknown qualifier, putting out the former world champion. And this time, Gareth Potts against Lee Clough. So this is the way, the sort of form they've been showing so far. And Gareth Potts has been in pretty good form, has he, through the tournament?
Yeah, and all year really as well. He's already got a tour victory under his belt. He's got a couple of pro titles under his belt. So all round, and in this tournament, as you can see, he's done very well.
And let's take a look then at the form of Lee Clough. This is how he reached this stage in the tournament. And again, how would you assess his current form?
Well, he's had a bit of a tricky one there, as you can see, but like I said, he has got the right game. He can condition himself, and of course he's a local lad as well. He'll have a lot of support, so I know he'll be up for this match big time.
You're looking forward to it, I can tell, but I have a feeling you think Gareth is going to go through.
Oh yeah, definitely the favourite here, but you know, you can't help thinking, has Lee got what it takes here to upset him? And if Gareth plays a little bit below par like he did last year in his quarter-final, then Lee will step in.
But nothing is for certain, is it?
Nothing is ever for certain in the sport.
We'll see how it goes. Let's now go to the action, shall we, and join our commentators Sean Baker and David Hendon.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. If you can welcome both players, Gareth Potts, Lee Clough.
Gareth Potts is the only player to win this title 3 times and the only player ever to defend it. He's one of the favourites again this year. First, though, he must get past local man Lee Clough, who's brought a lot of supporters here to the Imperial Hotel in Blackpool. First to 9 will go through to the semi-finals. Sean Baker and Lee Kendall alongside me. Well, Potts is a big favourite, Sean, but we saw, of course, in the previous quarter-final, shocks do happen.
Well, exactly, David. Yes, we saw Craig Waddingham, the qualifier, make it through. And this is all about the start. If Gareth gets off to a fast start, I think he should win this match easily, but if Lee Clough can peg him back, then it could be all the way decider again. Lee, big break there from Gareth Potts, but nothing down. Red just hung right in the jaws there.
Yeah, and with that red stain over the pocket, you'll probably see that Lee will want to be on those red balls. It's important to get off to a good start, as we've said before, especially for the Clough fans, because you know that Gareth's a favourite for this match.
Yeah, certainly he's the man that's come into this event in form. I think Keith mentioned in the introduction he's won 2 professional titles already this year, the first 2, and he's also captured the last tour title just over a month ago, so certainly into form.
He just hasn't been very well the last couple of days, though. He's been suffering from bad head, so we'll just see if that affects him in this match.
Yeah, obviously, if we need an insight into the Gareth Potts world, we have the ideal person in the commentary box today, Lee Kendall, good friend and business partner. The club there down in the Stoke-on-Trent area. So, like you say, he's looking fairly relaxed though. Earlier on I saw him down the practice room, Gareth, and he was looking, you know, okay.
What Lee Clough will have, of course, is a big support, as he is a local man, as I say. And we saw that with Craig Waddingham.
30 seconds.
He only had 4 or 5 friends in, but they made a lot of noise, and they really made themselves heard and added to the atmosphere last night.
Yeah, and these two players played each other a few years ago, and I think Lee Clough went something like 6-1 up, and Gareth somehow managed to pull a win out of that one. So if Lee does get off to a good start, you want to try and finish him off this time.
Yellow balls in play.
Certainly a feature you'll see of this game as well. I think we'll be hearing our timekeeper quite a lot, particularly when Lee Clough's at the table. I refereed his last 16 game with Andy McDonald. It was a 3-hour marathon, went all the way. 8-7 victory.
And he could have quite easily have gone out in that round as well.
Well, yeah, very easily. Andy McDonald's pulled off a big fluke in the last frame, and then unfortunately not been able to take the finish out. But the second half of that match, it just became like a war of attrition in terms of the time, because virtually every shot from Lee Clough was a 30-second call, and he then got to the point where he was asking me if I'd called 30 seconds as well.
Well, I spoke to Lee after the match, and he said he thought he was out. I mean, Andy got an easy last ball to pot.
We just saw the clock there, and it's getting very close to the time there. It's about 45, 46 seconds. So they're 51. We just see the clock reset by the timekeeper. I think that's Richard Rhodes today.
Well, Gareth's decided to play the tactical foul. I'm not sure if he's actually covered the pocket with a yellow ball. He's given 2 shots away.
Yes, if you ever watch the Premier League snooker, you'll know they have a 25-second shot clock on that, and towards the end of it, the last 5 seconds, you hear little pips going, so the players are aware. Doesn't happen here though, does it? You just have to make sure you're in time yourself.
Yeah, it would be nice to get that sort of technology into our game. And another thing which they have as well is an extension, which I think would enhance our game as well.
Yeah, I think we've heard quite a few of the top players talk about that again this week at these championships.
Second visit.
That they'd like to see that extension, but in fairness, the other night that match between Andy McDonald and Lee Clough, they needed about 10 extensions per frame.
Well, he's covered the pocket, but I think that's just lack of confidence at the start of the match, really.
Certainly not a player who likes to take any great risks, Lee Clough. No, he's very much a percentage player, and that obviously works for him, and he's made his way to the top of the game.
But I mean, what you'll probably see Gareth do here is he can just pop the red over the pocket and put the white ball right behind the red.
30 seconds.
He's looking to cannon that off with the yellow, but I think he could quite easily play the tactical foul and put him behind the other red. Now he's trying to cannon the 8 over, cut the yellow up the table and bump the cue ball into the 8 ball. It's a clever shot.
Yeah, great shot there from Gareth Potts.
I think he was just worried that Lee could waste the shot and still get out on the finish, so he wanted to make sure of it.
Well, mistake there from Lee Clough, and he's given the 2 visits.
2 visits. Time running.
Well, I don't really understand what he's trying to do there. I think if he was going to attack in the frame, he should have done it first time. He's trying to double his ball out, but why not just double it over and play the tactical foul?
Yeah, we saw on the replay a little bit unlucky there. I think the cue ball got a couple of kisses on the way around the table. As you say, it probably wasn't the right choice of shot anyway.
– 30 seconds.
In 2005 he won it for the first time, Potts. 2007, 2008. Disappointed last year, didn't he, in the quarter-finals against Adam Davis. He'll be looking to, I'm sure, make amends for that here this year.
Still got his 2 visits, so the 2 yellows you see on the right hand side shouldn't be too much of a problem. Either take him into the centre or play all the way up to the top pocket.
Yeah,
Play the plant.
yeah, I was going to say, with having that yellow there, Lee, it's a good opportunity here to just play a plant.
They just want to play it with a bit of control. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't play the first one into the centre pocket and hold the cue ball in that area, and then play the plant second shot. If he plays the plant first shot, then his cue ball's going to be travelling out of that area.
30 seconds.
He's taking his time though.
Yeah, you see, he just can't quite get comfortable on the shot. He's had his hand on the table a couple of times now. He's started to get down, and he's to change his mind. As you say, Lee, oh, he's gone for the one in the middle and missed it.
But he's still got a good chance to take the yellow into the top corner. Be into the open pocket this time. Slightly hampered over the red. First test for Potts. That's probably the frame winning shot, really. A good long pot. Quite simple, the work that's left to be done in this frame.
Yeah, as you say, it was quite a test of his cueing there early in this match. Knowing that he was to miss, potentially cost him the first frame.
But he did have the goalkeeper over the pocket there that he's just cleared, which probably gave him a little bit of extra comfort.
Well, with a name like Gareth Potts, this was always going to be the sport for him. He's already a 3 times world champion, looking to win his 4th this year. He's made a good start in the quarter-finals. He leads Lee Clough 1-0.
Second frame. Lee Clough to break, trailing 1 frame to 0.
Lee Clough then to break in frame 2. Frame down to Gareth Potts, first to 9. Go through to the semi-finals and take on the qualifier, Craig Waddingham.
Lost the cue ball there.
Foul.
Gone straight in as well.
Open table.
I think Lee was willing the balls to the bottom of the table, so I don't think he got into a bit of a mess. But that was straight in, it wasn't kissed in.
Big mistake there, Lee Clough. I think he was probably just trying to will that. There was a red going down the table and there's a couple of yellows there trying to probably will it into that
Yellow
position,
balls
but
in
it's
play.
not happened. I think this is a fairly straightforward out here for Gareth Potts in frame 2.
Well, all the fine yellow balls are just nicely sat at the bottom end of the table, and the black's there as well, so you can't really miss these, Sean.
One thing about Gareth Potts, is a very, very good front runner. Once he gets 2 or 3 frames in front of somebody, it's almost impossible to peg him back. He's making light work of this finish here in frame 2.
Which he's won in no time at all. Great start for Gareth Potts. He's already leading by 2 frames to 0. This is frame 4. Lee Clough trailing 3-0. Last time he broke, he went in off.
Ball spotted.
Well, red and yellow ball made there, so a lot better outcome there for Lee Clough. That cue ball did track back up on the table towards that top corner, or bottom right corner pocket, as we look on the overhead replay. But, had a little chat with Lee in the practice room before the match. He was actually just practicing breaking, because he's practicing his break shot, because normally he breaks from the middle.
30 seconds.
But with the 8-foot table, the line's a little bit further away, the baulk line, so that,
Yellow ball's in play.
he's actually gone over to the side, and you can see the mark on the table there. just on the right hand side of the table on the baulk line, and on the baulk line. And he was having quite a good success with it.
Red ball's in play.
That was a test of cueing, which he didn't pass. Quite a makeable yellow into the centre pocket. You'd expect him to get.
And Gareth's just looking at the one potential problem ball he has in this table now. And it certainly goes bottom left, that red.
Yeah, he nominated yellows and he put one off the break, so he's actually on yellows. So Gareth's on the red balls.
It's always the same though, isn't it? Lee Clough would have been under pressure anyway coming into this match, but if you make a bad start, all of a sudden that's intensified.
Yeah, unusually not sat down, because you'd have thought he would have done here, whether he's just trying to make a little bit of a statement to Gareth that, you know, well, I'm not going to sit down because I know you're going to finish these. I think maybe after Gareth's knocked a couple more of these balls in, he might be sat in his chair for a while.
Yeah, I think it's because it's in his eye line, so he doesn't want to move whilst he's on his shots. But as you can see, Gareth's got a tricky red. Well, it's like the cue ball fly around the angles. I don't think he's come far enough. I think he's having a look whether to just play a safety, roll the cue ball behind the red, wait for another opportunity.
He's queuing up the double here, like. And he has done, and he's made it. Didn't look like on the overhead. Oh, you see the face there from Gareth Potts.
Yeah, I don't think it was the right shot, because it was very hard to get the angle, because he's got to get really as close to that pocket as possible, really, and I can't see how he could have maintained the angle.
As you see there, once again, the replay just nudged off the knuckle.
And I can't see how he can possibly get down to the bottom corner. You can see he's got the off angle, so he'll probably just have to put the red over the pocket and hope he covers it.
Don't think he quite has there. And you see the red just bounced a little bit back off the bottom rail. Just left half the pocket open there for Lee Clough. So probably first real mistake we've seen from Gareth in this match so far, Lee.
Yeah, he just kept running out of position and he kept trying to force his way back into position, never really got there. You can see Lee's just having a quick look, see if he can slide the ball past the red over the pocket.
30 seconds.
I'm not so sure he can actually play it off that one, because the red looks too close to it. The one on the bottom rail seems like it slides past, so I don't see why he can't just play position and slide the red past the yellow. Well, he seems to think that the red and yellow, which are stuck together, that the lower yellow will pass a red. Looks very difficult from here.
Well, it does, because the red is actually in front of the yellow. So any contact on the red here surely would be a foul.
Well, it's tied. I mean, it looks like it may go, but if he doesn't hit it perfect, they're just going to duel and come out. Or may even pot the red if he doesn't hit it
30 seconds.
in the exact spot he needs. He'll be happy with that.
Yeah, great shot there from Lee Clough.
I think he actually did play to pot it, but at the pace he's played it, he'll be happy with the result. Well, he's in a position now, he's in total control. Pretty much how Gareth's been throughout the match. This is the first time where he's actually got some control on a frame.
30 seconds.
mean, really, there isn't a shot that Gareth can play.
And it all goes back, stems from that decision to take the double on. As you say, Lee, he could have just played the
Foul.
Yeah, I don't really see the value. He's obviously trying to keep the red over the pocket, but he was in so much trouble, he just had to do something.
Yeah, I don't know whether he's maybe just tried to get the red back across and just try and tie that yellow up on the bottom rail.
No, I think he's trying to keep the red over the pocket and try and put the white in a dead zone, but you know, it was hard to do both. And obviously he's not succeeded in either.
So Lee Clough then is getting the advantage. Can he make the most of it now? That's the key
30 seconds.
to whether he's going to win this match.
He's still huffing and puffing though. I think he'd like to blow the balls in and man pot them.
Second visit.
He's attempted the double there, not made it.
But he's had a good result though, because that could have hit the jaw and gone along the side cushion, so you know, he's still in a good shape here to take his first frame of the match.
And you feel he's got to do it, hasn't he? Because it will be a big blow for him. He's earned the chance to do it. If he doesn't and he goes 4-0 down, then he's going to struggle to win this.
Yeah, we did see in that third quarter final where each player put a string of frames together. I think it was 7 on the spin from Craig Waddingham and then 6 on the spin from Jason Twist, but the calibre of Gareth Potts, you're not going to be taking 6 or 7 frames off him in a row.
I think Lee Clough was copying one of my mannerisms there, licking his finger.
Should have had it trademarked, Lee.
Yeah, I thought it was only me and Jimmy White that did that. I'll have to have a word with him after the match. I tend to do, because I just don't like my fingers being dry on the cue, but it's the first time I've seen Lee Clough do it.
Again, a little look up at the clock there.
He should really just get down and knock these in. He's just making hard work of these. I mean, the yellow easily slides under the red.
Yeah, I can understand players taking the time when they're in a bit of trouble tactically and whatever, but when the finish is there, you know, they're always sort of waiting for the 30-second call before they'll play the shot. And just put themselves under that extra pressure. Like you say, just get down and play something, you know, get a little bit of flow into the game and into their own game.
Yeah, I think he's trying to be a little bit too precise, really. The cue ball's gone a little bit too close to the yellow ball. He's still okay, but I think the white may be running away from the ideal angle he would like on his next ball. Might just have to stun it in and just settle for what he's got.
Looks like he's running it through. Looking to take the yellow into the top right-hand corner pocket.
Well, it becomes missable. You expect him to get it, but from having 2 visits of 4 or 5 yellows on, it's all down to this shot now.
Pressure on this. He's 3-0 down, remember, in this quarter final.
"30 seconds.
Under the circumstances, it was a good pot. He's taken his time, he's been very methodical. And this is for his first frame of the match.
And it was interesting because he's actually played the shot just as the timekeeper scored the 30-second, and that's what the timekeeper has to do. Once that 30 seconds is reached, they call it, no matter what's happening at the table.
30 seconds.
Same thing happened there, but it didn't put him off. And he's got his first frame on the board at last. Gareth Potts' lead has been cut to 3-1.
Fifth frame, Gareth Potts to break, leading 3 frames to 1. Time running.
Frame 5 then, Gareth Potts still ahead, but now he leads by 2, it's 3-1.
Come on, Lee.
Come on, mate. Open table.
Well, they bunched together at the top corner, but no friends, as you say.
Yeah, not quite sure about the break. Did he seem to take a little bit off that, Lee?
Well, I don't think he's got his break going so far the match. I mean, you need to play 2 or 3 to get the feel of the table, but I'm sure as the match progresses there'll be more power shown.
Yeah, I just wonder though, if the sort of pace of the game is affecting him a little bit, because almost when he's come to break at the tables, is it almost like starting the match all over again each time?
Well, he's played Lee, let's say, probably in the last 3 tournaments, so he should be used to his style of play.
I just feel he's taking even more time than he normally does at this event. Like I say, in that match I was refereeing the other night, he even got to the point where he was asking me if I'd called 30 seconds nearly every shot, and he got that good at it. Literally as he asked me, I looked down and called 30. You know, it was almost like he could sense that was when it was, and it's almost like he's waiting on every shot. And I just wonder if it's affecting his game, you know.
He's probably making sure you're doing your job right, Sean.
Trust me, I don't need Lee Clough to do that.
30 seconds.
Got plenty of my peers are generally watching and telling me what a mess I've made of it again. But no, it just seemed odd that, you know, say the longer the game went on, it just became more and more like that, and I just wondered he got a little bit distracted by it all. Why didn't he just get down and play? You know,
probably confidence, Sean.
Game.
The back end of a match is when all the pressure is, and I suppose he only ended up winning that by an odd frame. The pressure builds. I mean, a lot of the times when they do play on the tour, they don't play with the clock.
Well, that's correct, yeah, yes, Lee. But this looks like it's sort of a bit more purposeful in this frame from Lee Clough. Just looking at that little cluster at the top left-hand corner pocket.
And that is where the problem is, and the key to this frame really. He's got a red, which is just blocking one of the yellows. So he needs to somehow find the secret to this frame.
30 seconds.
Just so on the overhead, he can take the one that's nearest to the pocket on the extreme right-hand side, and he's going to run into the red and the yellow, and he can bump that red and yellow out of the way.
The only problem is the red's going to stay in that area, and there's still 2 yellows there, so probably going into it now. It's a clever shot.
Yeah, a nice shot there from Lee Clough.
He moved the red out of the way. The red was a problem, and it just goes to show that Lee is still thinking straight. And a good opportunity now to close the gap to 1. He's a little bit thinner than he would have liked to be on these 2 yellows. Wouldn't like to bridge over and play the one he's looking at now.
I guess the key for Gareth Potts sat in his chair is just to keep his concentration, isn't it? Because he will be sat there for some time if
30 seconds.
Lee Clough continues like this, and just needs to keep himself settled there, not let his mind wander.
It'd be interesting, well, to see if Craig Waddingham's out there in the audience watching. So he awaits the winner of this match. Semi-final after his titanic 9-8 victory over Jason Twist in our last programme.
Yeah, I mean, he's a young lad as Craig. He's new to the circuit. Nothing seems to bother him, so I don't think he'll care who he plays. You know, it's his first major semi-final, and he's going to be a tough player to knock out of this tournament.
Yeah, it was a terrific match, wasn't it? Really, really great story, and obviously from Craig Waddingham's point of view, a great result. Who's to say won't go even
30
further?
seconds.
It would probably suit him to play Gareth rather than Lee, though, I would say, if he had to pick. I mean, obviously Gareth's known as a better player than Lee, but certainly the style of pool that Lee plays could put him in all sorts of trouble. It's a good pot. I think he's just okay. He can play the one over the pocket and bring the cue ball off 2 cushions for the yellow into the same pocket.
Yeah, it's probably a little bit thinner than he'd liked here.
but at least he knows if he makes a pot, he's going to be in position.
Seconds.
I think he'll be happy with that result. Didn't play to have the yellow in the other pocket.
Right, the way that cue ball coming across, just like he's going to nudge into the yellow, and he could have just held on it. He'd been in a bit of trouble, but as you say, just sneak past.
He may have to take a longer shot at the 8 ball. May be able to force it through on and off the cushion if he's got a nice angle. He's just settled for what the table's left him. So his first major test in this match so far.
Well, he's taken his time and he's composed himself once again. This is to close to within 1 frame of the 3 times champion. Every credit to him for knocking it in. Lee Clough is back in this match. He now trails just 3-2.
6th frame, Lee Clough to break, trailing 3 frames to 2.
So from 3-0 down, Lee Clough has got himself within 1. Gareth Potts leads 3-2. 9 frames needed for a place in the semi-finals.
Cue ball going. He's disappeared. You see it got kicked. He was a bit unlucky. He was getting it back up in the top end of the table.
Time running.
Got kicked into that corner pocket. You see there, lots of power. Cue ball jumps up. And the cue ball just tracks across. Looks to hang on. But finds the pocket.
Well, it's a good split. You can go reds or yellows. Only has 1 visit.
30 seconds.
He's probably going to go for the yellow balls. He's got 3 at the bottom end of the table, which he needs to work out how he's going to split those 2 balls or pick one off to the corner.
Yellow balls in play.
I think he'd like to leave himself an angle here. Not sure if he's run through far enough. Lee again standing up behind him. Yeah, he wanted an angle there. He's come the wrong side with the yellow. So you've got 2 yellows to the right hand side. 1 blocking each other into the pocket.
Well, the top one would actually go in that middle pocket, Lee, if he gets in the right position, but he'd have to be absolutely spot on with his positional play.
Right, it looks very tight. I think he may have to play a cannon at some point, Sean. Wouldn't be surprised if he didn't play it. Either this shot or the one after. Although the balls are all in the open, they are quite tricky. It's a clever shot. By promoting the red down the table, he can now play a little cannon, so pot the one nearest the rail on the right hand side and let the cue ball nudge into the 2 yellows to the left of it.
Just try to trust to a little bit of luck that he gets the right contact and leaves himself a pot.
Excellent shot.
Yeah, lovely shot there from Gareth Potts. Full ball into 1 yellow, clears it out.
Yes, and of course, as I was saying, he's been sat in his chair for some time watching the methodical Lee Clough win the last couple of frames, so this is good from him. He's looked sharp coming out. He has kept his concentration going, determined not to let his opponent get on level terms.
Thing about Gareth, he always looks really focused when he comes to these championships. As you see, you know, he had a little bit of a slow start to the year. Did get to the final of the European Championships where he lost to Gareth Hibbert. It was 8 frames to 5. And the first couple of tours had a little bit of a quiet time, but after that he just picked his game up slowly, just looking to peak in time for these championships. He certainly looks to have done that.
Yes, he's a big occasion player. He's Gareth Potts. That's why he's won this great title 3 times. And he's managed to reassert his authority in this quarter-final. He's 2 ahead again. He leads Lee Clough 4-2.
8th frame, Lee Clough to break, trailing 4 frames to 3.
Just
Time
1
running.
frame in this quarter-final. Gareth Potts 4, Lee Clough 3. This is frame 8.
Where's the cue ball again? Oh, that's twice into the same pocket.
One
See,
visit
there's a
to
smile
open
from
Time
Lee
running.
Clough.
I think he said joke. I mean, it's a solid break. It is ridiculous to go off from there. 2 kisses and dragged over into the same pocket again.
Desperate unlucky. You just look at the split on the yellows here. I mean, the reds is pretty good, but certainly with that yellow over the bottom left-hand corner pocket, Lee.
Yeah, he won't be going
the choice
won't be
here.
going the reds. I don't think he'd go reds in an exhibition of mine in the World
30
quarter-final.
seconds.
Yellow ball's in play.
This is just the opportunity Gareth Potts needed in this match to erase the memory of that in-off in frame 7.
Again, it's nothing in the sense that he's got any hard pots to do. It's just about the cue ball control. 4 yellows in the open, 8 ball in the middle of the table. He's been quite clever here though, Sean, because what he's done with the 2 shots there, he's knocked the 2 reds out the middle of the table.
Just going to say that, Lee. We've talked a lot in these matches and previously about not running into balls, unnecessarily. But he's done it quite deliberately there, like you say, to just shift those reds out of the way and give himself some more space. Absolutely no danger in doing that. The way the balls were set. You're probably just looking at this because we saw you got the yellow over the corner pocket. When the ball's right in the jaws, it makes it more difficult to get position off, Lee, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's not so bad when you've got the
30
black in the
seconds.
middle of the table though, because you can just drop the cue ball virtually anywhere on the table. You're going to have a shot. So the one over the pocket will be his last ball.
Perfect way to erase the memory of that in-off in the previous frame. He was unlucky was Lee Clough to go in off from the break. But Gareth Potts isn't going to care about that.
Well, he's got the option here to take the yellow into the middle pocket and drop the cue ball, I would suggest, right on the bottom rail. You can draw the cue ball over, but I think if he draws it to the bottom cushion, it makes the finish so much easier.
Again, he's disagreed with you, Lee.
I just think it's harder to play a positional shot when you're so close to the ball. I think he was trying to be too careful. I think if he drops it to the bottom cushion, he can't
He's
possibly.
got all that area to get out of with the cue ball. See, now he's got a bit of mountaineer knee on the table. Extremely careful with those reds. And as he finished behind the red,
That's again from his shot before. Just not thinking straight. If he drops the one in the middle, gets to the bottom cushion, he cannot go out of position.
see once again here.
You never want your cue ball that close to a ball over the pockets. I mean, it's a poor shot what he's played, but if he drops a white on the bottom cushion, he can't do that.
He just can't believe it, can he, that he's got himself into this position. Unfortunately, the telepathy between him and Lee Kendall wasn't working.
Red ball's in play.
Keeps him in the frame. I'm sure Lee Clough would have preferred to have 2 visits, but Then again, he would have thought he'd lost his frame by now. Will Lee Clough decide to attack?
seconds.
He's just worried because Gareth has not the 8-ball knee in the middle pocket, and he knows if he does decide to defend, he's going to leave him a 1 or a 2 cushion chance of potting the black. So I don't think he wants to, but I think he may be forced into going for him.
Again, a glance at the clock, knowing that time is running down. You can see there, must have been probably 55, 56 seconds there.
Well, I think he may have left him the top cushion. No, I think the red's just blocking his angle. He could probably pick his cue in the air and try and swerve it off the rail and try and clip it back in, but you can see the red ball, the top there, is hampering him a little bit. That's ideally where he'd like to hit with the cue ball. So you may just have to settle for not giving 2 shots away here.
30 seconds.
And he can aim just to the right hand side of that red with a lot of spin. That's what he's looking at. It's a tough shot over the distance. He's got a big chance of swerving and just hitting the red full ball. It's a great effort from Gareth there.
Super effort.
But what it has done is give Lee a chance at the finish with no real pressure on, because that 8-ball's trapped to the bottom cushion and there's a red slightly guarding it, so Lee Clough will definitely be having to go at the finish this time. I don't know what he's looking at here.
Seconds.
I think he's taking the one top right. He takes the one along the baulk rail and then plays the one on the left-hand side of the table at the top, down the rail, and leaves the snooker.
That's not the shot though, Sean. He should be taking the one at the bottom to the left-hand side as we look now.
No, I agree with you, Lee, but I just wonder that's what he's thinking is here. He's just going to promote that red that's on the
I think he could
top.
have took the other one, Sean, run into the other one, then he's got a free pot to run through on the one down the rail. Bring the cue ball in between the other 2 reds and he can't miss. The way he's gone now, he could miss, so he's probably going to have to play safety.
Very unusual, because I honestly thought he was just going to drop that in and say and promote that red, so...
Well, he's just making hard work. Just through shot selection, really. He's got nothing to do and he's made hard work of it.
Yeah, sorry, Lee, yeah, I think it's just... something certainly clouding his judgment here as well.
It could be he's just spending too long looking at it, and he's got one thought in his mind, then he's got another one, and then he goes back to the start. He isn't quite sure what he first thought of.
Well, he's probably going to end up...
30 seconds.
He's going to attack, I think, but I mean, if he does defend and Gareth hits a black, puts it towards a pocket, what state of mind is he going to be in then? I think he'll want to pot this and just drop the cue ball behind that red he's cueing over. That's what he'll be doing now, just touching him behind, but he shouldn't have been in this position.
Yeah, because a couple of shots ago he could have quite easily promoted that red out and left the snooker.
Well, he should have been playing the one at the bottom of the table first.
But as you say, I know, yeah.
And then
I mean, we've had that
with the cannon,
yeah.
he's on this ball that he's stuck against now.
And still leaving the snooker if he misses it.
But I've never missed a finish from the commentary box, so...
No, not even I have. I've done that, Lee. So,
30 seconds.
I mean, ideally, he's thinking to himself, I'd like to bring this ball into play, but if he touches him right behind it and glues him, then I think that's what he's got to play. He just wants to block the side cushion off. Well... It's a brave shot, but it's all about the red on the left hand side rail. Here's the bolt line. I think he probably should be taking that now, then leave himself a long red the next shot. I wouldn't want to be leaving it till last, because you want to be right behind it and drawing it back. And this is a big frame, you know. I mean, to let Gareth off at this stage would be a disaster for him. And if he does get it, you know, he's going to sow some seeds of doubt in Gareth's mind.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be 4-4, and Gareth realistically would think, well, I should have been 6-2 up here. You know, the mistakes that I've made.
Well, fully expect him to get the red, but it'll be a thin clip on the 8 ball. He'll be annoyed with himself for having to take these 2 balls as his last 2 balls like that.
.30 seconds.
Struck that one very confidently though.
Again, right on the 30-second call.
So Gareth Potts winning off in the previous frame, lost it. In this frame he lost position when he looked certain to open up a 2-frame lead again. He was 3-0 up earlier on, and at that stage there was a danger he was going to run away with this quarter-final. But Lee Clough has this 8 ball to make it 4-4.
30 seconds.
And he's not potted it. Oh, that could be a really big moment.
And Gareth knows, you can tell by his face. A relieved man.
It looked like Potts had thrown this frame away, but he got a second bite at the cherry, and isn't he happy? He leads Lee Clough by 5 frames to 3.
And welcome back to Blackpool and this last men's quarter-final in the Foster's World 8-Ball Pool Championships. Keith, this is an absorbing match. You were saying at the start you thought this would be a contrasting styles that we're going to see. That's exactly how it's turned out to be.
Yeah, as I said, that would be the case. Obviously, you know what Gareth's all about. He's going to take the finishes out whenever he has the opportunity. But Lee plays a completely different kind of game, and I thought that just might unsettle Gareth a little bit. And I think that's shown in 1 or 2 of the shot selections that Gareth's played.
I think Gareth's been frustrated, but we've seen mistakes coming into his game that you wouldn't normally expect, but Lee is working his magic on it.
It happens, it's all part of the game, remember, but you've got to be able to deal with the contrasting style that you're up against. Everyone has their own individual styles, but these two are kind of vast. So, but he has played Lee enough times to know what he's up against.
Gareth made a good start, got dragged back, but do you think he's still going to be good enough come the end?
I don't think really there's that much in the match, to be quite honest. They've both made a few mistakes. I mean, Gareth's kind of edging in front all the time, and kind of Lee's kind of banging onto the old coattails. But that's what Lee's good at. And come as they approach the finish, you know, you'd be surprised what could happen, as we've seen in other matches. You know,
absolutely. You never can tell. Right, let's cross back now to the table and see what happens with our commentary team.
9th frame, Gareth Potts to break, leading 5 frames to 3. Time running.
Gareth Potts needs 4 more frames to reach the semi-finals after winning that dramatic 8th frame. 5-3, his advantage.
Great break there from Gareth Potts. Ball's potted all over the place.
Yellow balls in play.
You can see him put a bit more force into it.
So the red and the yellow follow each other down that bottom middle pocket there on the overhead replay.
We saw just how pumped up he was, didn't he, when we potted that 8 ball, when it looked like he was going to lose the frame.
Well, he knows he's been let off. you know, his lead would have gone.
30 seconds.
And all of a sudden he knows the initiative would have probably just gone over to Lee Clough. Whereas he's managed just to hang on to it. Just showing you what he wants to leave the cue ball. Still hasn't picked his pace up though, he's still going at the same
30
methodical
seconds.
speed. Changed his mind. I think he's played to be a one at the right of the 8 ball into the right hand centre. I'm not sure if he's gone far enough through. See from that shot he has.
Nice shot there from good control, kept the cue ball, almost stopped it dead there, Lee. And players just let that to run a little bit, in danger of tucking in behind the black and blocking this yellow out. So
yeah, you can see that he's took these balls in the correct order, because now the frame is at his mercy.
yeah, because we've seen 1 or 2 errors. Gareth Potts, he seems to have just lost his way a little bit, taking the balls in the wrong order you suggested, and he's come unstuck. So there's a lot more accomplished to finish this.
Could so easily have been 4-4. And if Lee Clough had won that 8th frame, who's to say he wouldn't have taken control? But he didn't win it, and he's going to be 3 behind again. Very coolly done from Gareth Potts, who now leads by 6 frames to 3.
11th frame, Gareth Potts to break, leading 7 frames to 3. Time running.
Gareth Potts needs 2 more frames and he is in the semi-finals. He leads 7-3.
Ball's potted.
Just look down the tail there, because the yellow tucked in behind 2 reds. You see there at the bottom of the screen, bottom left. I thought if that yellow had just sneaked down the rail, it'd have been okay.
Red ball's nominated.
Yeah, the reds aren't too bad though, Sean. Those 2 reds which are blocking the yellow are in a good position, so he's just looking at the plant now. He could play that one, or he's got the... See, it definitely can be made into the corner pocket. And he's got the other option of taking a red into the centre. So
Yeah. And he's fortunate, because I think there's just a little bit of gap between the reds, because it isn't quite a plant into the corner. It just looks like it'd be hitting the near knuckle.
well, it is an open tail at the minute, so he needs to make the plant.
There's the cue ball.
Red ball's in play.
Well, I think the cue ball's travelled through. It hasn't gone in off, but I don't think he's left himself a shot.
Just wonder, you see that cue ball right in the jaw. Just wonder if he has left 1 red. We see on the overhead there's a red that's sort of to the left of the black. Does it go into the top left hand corner pocket as we look? Difficult. It looks like he's only got about half the pocket.
No, he can't pot that one, Sean. He's well and truly
30
blocked on that one.
seconds.
He might be able to chop the one on the left hand side. In between the 3 reds, one just below the 8 ball, chop it back. Cue ball's going to be travelling. No, he's missed it.
Come on, Wayne.
It was a tough shot, that one. Playing from out the jaw.
I think the one saving grace from it at the moment is Lee Clough's got that 1 yellow ball in the balk area. It's not tight on the rail, but obviously that means he's, at some point he's got to get up to there, get position on it, and then get back down the table. So
Well, it's his first shot. I can't really see how, unless the yellow goes into the top right hand corner. Again, he's a little bit worried about the clock. We hear the 30-second warning. Yes, it goes into the top, so he has got a great opportunity here. All the yellows are in the open. got the option to take the yellow down the rail and bring the cue ball back into the 8 ball. Giving the choice of 2 yellow balls. You can see Lee just having a walk around and trying to picture his finish in his head. So he can go into the 8 or just drop the cue ball low down.
30 seconds.
I think he's not sure which way the 2 to play. Yeah, he's decided to stay low and not take the risk of canning the black any further over to the left hand side of the table. It's just a little bit awkward because he's got the 3 yellows sort of in the way of each other.
Such an important frame for him. He's got to win this one. If he lets Gareth Potts get to 8 frames, then very hard to see how Lee Clough can win.
Yeah, you're always trying to keep your opponent off when they say you're on the hill. You don't want them to be 1 frame away from winning the match.
Seconds.
So if you can keep 2 away, you always, a little bit of leeway, not a lot. It's a nasty little finisher because he can take the yellow, which is below the 8 ball, into the left hand centre. But where's his next shot?
I mean, ideally he'd be wanting to stay low on the other yellow that's to the right of the black, and the angle to get back up the table, but I'm not quite sure he can do that.
Well, he hasn't got a lot of room. I think the shot's there, but his cue ball's going to be very close to the yellow.
30 seconds.
And then he needs an angle to get up the table. If he's too thin, he'll be gliding into the reds, and that's saying he makes a yellow into the centre. Wiped it 3 to only just.
Yeah, certainly thumped into that far knuckle. Looked like it was going to be coming back.
But he's played a good shot. He played it positively. Got the cue ball off the rail. You can see he's got a nice angle. The cue ball naturally goes up the table. Probably needs to stun the cue ball and avoid the reds. And needs a nice angle on his last yellow to get back for the 8 ball.
30 seconds.
Straight on this.
So you're saying nice shot. It was a good pot. The positional play wasn't there though. He's now forced to leave himself a long pot on the 8 ball, and the cue ball's going to be travelling towards the reds at the top left, as we see now.
Because he's already missed 1 long 8 ball in this match.
Yeah, I think he'll want to get the cue ball right over to the side rail.
Turn it off, please. Thank you.
Mobile phone going off, that certainly doesn't help him.
30 seconds.
Just needs to get it to the cushion and just that ball's width off. That's good enough. He should be able to put enough screw on the cue ball to avoid the reds in the bottom left hand corner. Massive shot for Lee Clough.
Yeah, bad memories of this corner pocket already in this match.
Yes, frame 8, he missed the 8 ball. That would have been 4-4. But this time he makes no mistake. That is a great effort from Lee Clough. He's hanging on. He trails 7-4.
Time
7-4 then. Gareth Potts leads, and Lee Clough to break in frame 12, having just won that dramatic 11th.
Not got a decent break of the pack there.
Spotted.
Cue ball seems to jump a lot on impact, Lee.
Yeah, but he's made a ball. He's done the important part, and you know they have split quite well. You know, last thing he wanted to do is turn the table over. You can see sort of jump the cue ball up in the air, which then come and open the cluster in the middle of the table. You know, he's got a good opportunity here. An opportunity you'd think he's got to take. He's got to not make any mistakes in this match and play perfect pool to have any chance of getting through to the semi-finals.
30 seconds.
Yellows.
Yellow ball's nominated.
He's just nominated the yellows. He's got no option on the reds. You can see that
Yellow ball's in play.
there's 4 yellows to the right-hand side of the table, which a little bit awkward. One yellow's blocking the other yellow into the corner, then there's a red there. And on the left-hand side of the table, you've got 3 reds which are guarding the other yellow. So it's not about potting; it's all about the positional side of the game. Certainly for Lee Clough in this frame.
Thirty seconds.
Well, I said it wasn't about potting the ball.
Red ball's in play.
You can't expect it to miss something like that.
No, it's a bad miss there from Lee Clough, as you say. Can't afford to give Gareth Potts too many more chances in this match. And Gareth's still got to break in at least 3 frames if it goes all the way. And those are things that he can't do anything about. But it's his break and he has control of the table by potting a ball. You say you can't be handing the table back to Gareth Potts like he just has done.
Yeah, what he has done, he's left him a favourable table really. The reds are all there. There's no real obstacles that you would say would stop Gareth from taking the frame.
The only danger in this finish is all about all the balls are in that one half of the table now, so there's a little bit less room to work with. You can see here he's just going to manoeuvre that cue ball through a pack of balls. Just nudge the black a little bit close to that red on the side rail.
Yeah, it's
Just checking, it still goes, but
it's made slightly harder work of it. You can see the 2 reds to the right hand side of the yellow won't go into this pocket. Bridging over the 8 ball, so they do go into the opposite pocket.
nice little shot there from Gareth Potts, just nudged into the yellow and just cleared that.
Yeah, ideally I'd like to run through a little further there, Sean. I think he can still pinch into the top side of the pocket and then play the one that's inside the 8 ball. He's got to get the cue ball over, show you now where he needs to be in.
Yeah, because he's got to get it out of that space as well. It's all about getting in to pot the red. He's got to get the cue ball out. That's the last red, and just a little bit of a grimace from Gareth Potts.
30 seconds.
See that from him when you know it's just not quite right. And with a lot of left hand spin there, took it up the table.
Well, some shot that is, because that red could have quite easily jumped out the pocket. He's now got himself the right angle. He's left himself a good distance away from his work, so he's, like you say, he's got to come past the 8 ball, but at least he's got a shot at it. It's not nice, though, is it? It's very close to the 8 ball when he brings a cue ball through that gap.
I think Mel Harley, our
30
referee, is in
seconds.
very close attention here to make sure that the foul isn't played. Great shot there from Gareth Potts.
Well, he doesn't want to be straight, otherwise he's going to have to jack his cue up in the air and screw back. He looks pretty straight from here, so if he does have to jack his cue up, it makes a red missable. You'd expect him to make it, but
The problem is that cue ball is right tucked up close to the side rail. You see, he's just got a little bit of an angle.
well, I think he's got the wrong angle, Sean. He might have to top through.
30 seconds.
There's like a stun on and off the cushion here, so he needs a good shot. He's avoided the yellow. He's done it very well.
Shot of a true champion there, Gareth Potts.
Yeah, and the force that he did on that shot forced the cue ball over to the right hand side of the table, which made the 8-ball a trickier shot, but you'd expect him to make it.
Yes, it's been the difference in this match. Gareth Potts has potted the crunch balls. He's potted some more there, and he's now 1 away from victory. He leads 8-4.
Well, it's a big break, but again, a lot of clusters come.
Red Bull's nominated.
He's nominated Reds. I don't think he's potted her. I think he made a yellow off the break.
Yeah, if the referee says nominated rather than in play, it means that he hasn't potted that ball. That's the correct call.
But what he has got, he's got an angle. When he pots the red into the right-hand centre, the cue ball's going to track down towards the 8-ball and just clear that cluster out the way. He needs to concentrate on making the pot,
30
though.
seconds.
Like we said, it's an open table. That's probably why he's going to take this one first to make sure he gets a suit.
Yeah, that ensures the colour.
Red Bull's in play.
Looking very focused now, Gareth Potts. You always know when he's in that mood, or he's just in that right frame of mind where he sort of strides round the table with like it's sort of like really imposing himself on the game and his opponent. You see there that look on his face, very, very focused.
Yeah, he's got the red now to bring the cue ball off the bottom rail into the 8-ball.
It wiped its feet, but it's there.
It certainly did wipe its feet, didn't it? Looked like it was just going to hang on for a moment, but it did drop.
Well, Gareth looks like he's booking his place in the semi-final, and he'll be up against Craig Waddingham. You know, unseeded player. How do you see that one, guys? It's going to be a different type of match for Gareth, going in as a world champion against an unknown.
You see how Gareth's just struggling. I think that could potentially be an absolutely fantastic match. We saw Craig Waddingham in that quarter-final with Jason Twist, completely fearless. You know, first time on TV,
30 seconds.
biggest match of his pool career to date, and he showed no sign of any nerves or tension at all. And I think Gareth Potts would be in for a real game.
On a hiding to nothing, really, isn't he? If he does complete victory here against the young man.
Yeah, what we did see that Craig had was a good following. So there'll be a few Stoke boys up, but the lads from Scunthorpe will be shouting their boy on.
Still got a little bit of work to do here, Gareth Potts, before he reaches the semi-final stage of this year's Foster's World 8-Ball Pool Championships. Just slightly out of position here. I think ideally I'd like to
30 seconds.
left the red that he's closest to into the top left-hand corner pocket. Ooh,
Well,
now
if he's touching ball on that one,
got to be extremely close, because it's one of them where it's just rolled right up to it. It's almost like the object ball drops back.
touching ball, that could make a big difference. Well, he still believes he can get through. It's very, very close. I'm sure the referee will be watching this one.
Yeah, obviously if that yellow ball moves, it will be a foul. Great control there from Gareth Potsley.
Well, what he's done is played it with a little bit of spin, so he could pinch the pocket. Clever little shot.
Yeah, and another example of his poise on a real crunch ball, as we've seen really all through this match. Could have been so different. Lee Clough had the 8-ball to make it 4-4. Who knows, that might have turned it in his favour, but he didn't pot it. And Gareth Potts has completed what in the end is a very comfortable victory by 9 frames to 4. So the 3-times world champion is on course for a 4th title. He's through to the semi-finals.
So, in the end, Gareth Potts safely through then to the semi-finals. Keith, what did you make of that? In the end, he got there, but he never looked totally convincing.
I think Gareth picked the game up actually in the second half of the match. I thought,
yes.
I thought he pushed on like he needed to, quite assertive, took control of the match, which I don't think he really did in the first half, but the second half he surely did.
But even so, Lee still seemed to have that ability just occasionally to worry him, and obviously slightly put him off his normal game.
Yeah, well, we all know that about Lee. He can do that, but he knew he was on for a tough match today. Playing Gareth here, and fair play, he gave it his best shot. But I think the better player won on the day, to be quite fair.
Okay, fine. Let's just confirm for you at home then what's happened so far then in these quarterfinals, and there we are. The defending champion Phil Harrison edging out Adam Davis 9-8. Mick Hill went through pretty comfortably against Gareth Hibbert. Then the big sensation of this championship so far, Jason Twist, losing out 9-8 to Craig Waddingham. What a match that was. And Gareth Potts just now beating Lee Clough 9-4. And all that, of course, means that we've now got two intriguing semi-finals to come. Phil Harrison against Mick Hill and Gareth Potts against Craig Waddingham. So there we go. That's it from us for the moment. Thanks for your company. My thanks to Keith as well. And we'll see you next time here. Whatever you do, don't miss those semis. Bye for now.